Okay, today we continue with class Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, and we start with Sefer Chaim. And big topic is the same, the many forms of gossip. And today's topic is negative opinions. As Rechilus includes many statements that might cause ill feeling between Jews, it is forbidden to inform a manufacturer or distributor that a certain individual disliked his product. This is true even if the product is generally unpopular. Okay, so I mean, somebody does not like it, don't have to tell. Like for example, I give a practical example. Sometimes when I buy things on Amazon, I would check the reviews, and some like many bad reviews. So I would go and check, and like sometimes they give 1 star because they say the package was damaged. I mean, always has to do with the product, or it was it arrived late. I expected on this day, but it arrived 1 week later. What is the connection to the product? So many times, even the people leave bad comments or they give bad ratings. It does not mean that there is a problem with the product. Just because they don't like it, they thought they were going to be green, but it was greenish and not so. So basically, do not. It is 100% rechilus. So don't repeat this rechilus. Now, similarly, one may not tell a speaker that a certain person or persons did not enjoy his lecture, right? Nor may one tell a writer or the artist that certain people do not appreciate his work, unless this is absolutely necessary for constructive purpose. Okay, so it's for constructive purpose. So you can ask somebody and review your work, and if he's an expert, he knows what he's talking about. So ask his opinion, right? But don't ask, for example, if you give lectures, don't ask people, did you like it? Maybe if he's a wicked person, of course he's not going to like it. If you tell him the truth, that he has to divorce a woman that he lives with, that if he does not keep Shabbos, he's going to Gehenna. Of course he does not like it. Does it make a bad lecture? No. Right. Right. So we continue. So we continue with with Loaves of Challah. Okay, and it's Siman 35 and CF number 2. Okay, so Challah, we said it's a piece of dough, but we separate from the batch of the dough, right? And it's biblical requirement to do that. In land of Israel, when we had the Beis Hamikdash, today it's rabbinical. Okay, continue. CF number 2. What is the amount of dough? There is a subject obligation of setting aside challah. Any dough that has been made from a 5 revaim of flour. This is equivalent to the volume of 43 1/5 egg. 5 eggs. Okay. Okay. So let's see. So I think we were going by manna, right? How much is manna weight? Right, so let's see. the Gemara in Eruvim, right? It's the Gemara Eruvim 83b derive this amount from the term Aristoisei Chem, your dough. Okay, appearing in this passage that sets forth Challah obligation that was transmitted to the Jewish people in the wilderness. This amount is calculated based on another verse in Shmos 16:36 that describes the size of the daily portion of manna that each person receives as a 10th of ephah, which is equivalent. So 10th of ephah is equivalent to 43 1/5 of the eggs. Okay, for 43 1/5 eggs. Okay, 1 ephah equal to 3 seah. 1 seah is equal to 3 kavim. 1 kav, 4 lugim. 1 log, 6 egg volumes. Thus, 1 ephah is 3 times 6 times 4 times 6 is equal to 432 eggs volume. 1/10 is 43.2 eggs volume. See the Shabbos 15a, right? The Talmud. The expression 5 rivaim means 5 quarters. 5 quarters, 5/4, right? And refers to 1 and 1.25 kav. However, the kav used in the calculation was larger one, equivalent to 34.56 eggs. Okay, volume. So that 1/4 of the kav is 43.2 eggs volume. Okay, so basically, as we said before, we all of the measurement, even by weight measurement. So we're going by volume. So volume is how much, as we discussed last time, the work would be pushed out from a container that is full to the brim with water. That's how we discussed it. So okay, so it's 42. So which is a lot. So in our modern calculation, it's approximately 5 pounds of flour, approximately, if I remember correctly. Okay, so continue. See kilalim, definition of terms for instruction of how to measure egg volume. Okay, so they have a commentary how to measure egg volume. Since the minimum amount of dough from which challah must be taken is a measure of volume 43.2 egg volume and not weight, and the weight of the given volume of flour varies from species of grain and its quality. Therefore, weight is not the accurate means of determining whether a portion of flour is sufficiently large to be subject to the challah. Rambam commentary to Yidu Yos 1-2. Okay, Mishnah Berurah 4:56-3. So basically, the correct. So nobody is arguing that the correct measurement would be in volume, right? But I mean, how would we measure in volume all of this? Actually, it's possible. I think if you have these cups that they use for baking, the measuring cups, I think it's possible. So because they say it all depends on the flour, different flour weighs different. Some is more fluffy, some is more heavy. Okay, so continue. Nevertheless, the rabbis in each generation may use contemporary weights in presenting the challah obligation to the masses, provided they remain vigilant in noting any change in circumstances. See Chazanish or Chaim 93. So okay, so the proper in everywhere in rabbinical literature, you would say the volume and in eggs, right? But in the modern application, I mean, they give us not in eggs, right? But I mean, go and find for 42 eggs, for 43 eggs. So even to have 43 eggs in the house, I just thought about it. It's a lot, right? And most of the people would not have that much. People have maybe a few dozen, right? So continue. Therefore, many authorities have provided the minimum amount of weights. Okay, measure as we said. Continue. Furthermore, since some uncertainty exists with regard to determination of that exact measure, many authorities offer two weights, right? The lesser amount, at which point one should separate challah, but not recite the blessing, and the greater amount, at which point one is required to recite the blessing as well. Okay, so we go, okay, so here the measurement of the next page. But before we continue, so two measurement. One is minimum. I think it's about like 2 pounds, maybe 2.2, 2.3 pounds, right? When you do without blessing, and almost 5 pounds, a little less than 5 pounds, you do with a blessing. But to be on a safe side, so just do 5 pounds. It's a standard packaging anyway, right? Some come in at 10 pounds, but the most popular is at 5 pounds. Okay. According to Rabbi Chaim Na'eh, One is required to separate challah without blessing from the flour that weighs 3 pounds, 9 ounces, 1.61 kilogram or more. Okay. According to Zanish, according to Chazanish, one is one who needs a little as 2 pounds and 10 ounces, 1.2 kilograms of flour should separate challah without blessing. So that's what we go by this Chazanish measurement, meaning 2 pounds, 10 ounces. I mean, okay. Okay. So, and one more time, we remind ourselves that we measure flour, not the dough. Flour. Okay. So because in a dough you have all the other ingredients. Okay. Rav Chaim Nael agrees that the scrupulous individual should follow the rule of Chazanish in this. Okay, meaning that it's more stricter. So Chazanish is known to be a little more stricter. Okay, so minimum 2 pounds, 10 ounces. Okay, continue. So basically, the way I see it, it's in now day and time, it's easy to measure. So it's like half of the bag. If you have this 5 pound bag, so if you do like half of the bag would be good without blessing. In order to recite the blessing, one must knead the dough from the flour weight 3 pounds, 10.8 ounces, 1.66 kilograms, according to Rav Chaim Nael, and 4 pounds and 15.4 ounces, 2.25 kilograms, according to Chazanish. So that's what we go by, right? So it's almost 5 pounds, right? It's almost 5 pounds for Chazanish. That's what we do. So this regular bag that we have 5 pounds. That's what we use to separate with a blessing. Okay, continue. Okay, we finish with this here, and we go on to the next one. So one more time, let me just repeat so we have the summary. So 2 pounds, 10 ounces. It's 1.2 kilograms without blessing, right? We're talking about dough, not the flour. Or 5 pounds. I'm rounding up. 5 pounds for with a blessing. Okay, continue. So basically from 2 pounds 10 ounces and up, and until 5 pounds, you just separate without blessing. Okay. If 2 doughs were kneaded separately, each one containing less than minimum amount of challah requirement, and were subsequently joined together, they are subject to the challah requirement. Okay. This CF introduces a ramification of this law pertaining to bread that was already baked. Okay, so all right, so I'm not sure. Okay, so we're going to already bread baked. Just I'm not sure if we're going to discuss or not. I think we're going to discuss. I'm not sure. I don't see it right away, but I think we should discuss. If not, I'm going to say at the end how to join these dough batches. Because that's what I think most of the people do. Because 5 pounds to mix 1 pound, 5 pounds, you have to have like a commercial mixer. Usually people do. They have like a regular mixer, not huge like commercial one. So they do it in few batches, and then you join together these 2 batches, and you separate 1 challah from 2 of them, or 3 of them, whatever you have. Okay. So continue. the matzah that is baked for Pesach is also subject to the challah obligation. Even though the size of each dough needed for matzah on its own contained less than the minimum amount, the subject to the challah obligation. Nevertheless, since after the baking the matzahs are placed in a vessel, the vessel combines them into one unit, and thus they may become subject to the challah obligation. It's very interesting. So let's try to explain what it says here. So when we make matzah, we do like tiny batches of dough. Why? Because you have only 18 minutes. So whatever, it's not, I think 18 minutes including baking, right? So it's not 18 minutes. I think that they tried to do under 18 minutes, or 17 minutes, 17 and a half minutes, or something like that. So you have to prepare the dough, right? You have to make the holes, you have to bring it to the oven, put it in the oven. So all of these procedures take time, right? So that's why they make very small batches of dough. And of course, it's never ever would be this minimum amount, unless, I guess, that's my guess, they do like this big batch and they're going to distribute it to many people. So I don't know, like 20 people would make the matzah from this dough. Maybe in that case, it would require the separation. But let's say it's regular circumstances. So they would make all of this dough, right, many times, bake matzahs, and then put them in one vessel. And then this one vessel, whatever is it, maybe a bag, maybe like some container box. And this box, let's say, to make it simple, this cardboard box combine all of the matzahs together, and you would be able to separate the challah from the end product, not from the dough as you originally should, but at the end of the product, because there is no other choice with matzah, unless, as we said, you have like commercial baking. So commentary. Kitzur explained below at 110.4. Okay, so probably in the Loaves of Pesach, that when kneaded dough for Pesach matzah, the custom is not to knead dough larger than the size that would be obligated challah. Not knead. Okay. I'm not. I mean, the reason I just explained, and maybe not to spend time on it, right? Because time is very precious. You want to do it under 18 minutes. Maybe that's another reason, I guess. And plus this dough, if he is going to separate matzah, so this dough, right, this dough you separate from matzah is going to become chometz, for sure. So and we try not to have chometz on the premises. So it's like counterproductive. Okay, that's my guess. Since it is difficult to be certain that one has measured accurately, the dough for matzah is generally made slightly smaller than this size. Okay. All of the other reasons combined. Whatever we said, two reasons. Whatever he said, the third reasons, all of the combined. Just 1 second. So we said if they are placed in one vessel, the vessel combines them into one unit, right? And thus they become the subject of challah obligation. Commentary. The challah obligation is expressed in the Torah, in Bamidbar 15:20, as applying to dough, right? So that's what we said. Original halacha is for dough. Thus, initially, one should separate challah from the dough before it is baked. That's it. That's what we said, right? Dough. Nevertheless, where challah has not been set aside earlier, it is separated after the baking has been completed. Yorek Deya 3:22:5 or Chaim 4:57:1. Okay, and Mishnah Brura number 5. Okay. Similarly, so if the proper way is from dough, if they could not do it from dough, as this example, for right? So we're doing from the end product. We do it from end product. Okay. Continue. Similarly, when the dough was not subject to the challah requirement, because it contains less than the minimum amount of dough, subject to requirement of Challah. It can still become subject to that requirement after baking. If he joined in a vessel with a similar loaves from which Challah has not been separated. Therefore, the matzahs are subject to requirement of the Challah if they place into one vessel after they bake. So it's very interesting. Same as regular bread. So if you did smaller batches, so if you keep them separately, there is never obligation of Challah. But if you put them in one vessel, and I would say people would want to do a mitzvah, right? So they put in one vessel in the case of matzah or case of our other bread. So all the separate batches of baking would not require the Challah. Now we combine it together, they do, and we separate from the bread. Continue. Care must be taken to ensure that all matzahs are placed within the vessel. Commentary. If a few matzahs are in a large vessel, one must make sure that the matzahs are touching each other in a vessel. One more time. If a few matzahs are in a large vessel, okay, so there are only a few of them, but the vessel is large. Okay, one must make sure that the matzahs are touching each other in a vessel. So that's how it combines. If it's full, right? That's understand. But if it's big container and only a few matzahs, so make sure that they touch each other. Okay. Continue. And okay, that was a commentary, right? But Kitzur says care must be taken to ensure that all of the matzah are placed within the vessel. So basically, it must have walls, or you have like a cardboard box or some metal utensil, whatever, like cooking pot, whatever. So you put in there. So they must be in below the height of the walls of the vessel. Even if part of the matzah is in a vessel and part protrudes outside of the vessel, that is above the walls of the vessel, they also combine together. So if you have a big stack, I guess, of the matzahs or a bread, and one is above the walls, but it still sits on the one below, so there is no problem because they're connected. However, if there are entire matzahs situated only above, but not within the vessel, they do not combine with other for the minimum amount required to set aside Challah. So basically, at least some part of the matzah must be like below. Okay. Continue. So that's how we combine. Even if he covered them with a cloth, it is not effective to combine them. See Mishnah Brura 457 for further discussion. Okay, so let's continue and then I'll explain. Nevertheless, if he places all of the matzahs on a sheet and also covers them with the sheet by folding the sheets over the matzahs, then the sheet has the effect of vessel and combine them. Even if they are uncovered somewhat on top, in the center, or where the ends of the sheet do not touch, but he should be careful that the entire matzah should not protrude from the covering. So, okay, they say, okay, maybe this vessel, this cooking pot was not deep enough, so you can take a sheet, or you can take a towel, like maybe bigger towel, put all of your bread, all of your whatever you need, right, and cover on top with another towel. Now it's all covered, so it's like a vessel, and everything is combined. So now you can separate the challah. Of course, it's better than they touch, and then it's all combined. And that's actually what we do to when we separate challah from separate the dough batches, right? So we put them on some like cutting board, right? And then not cutting. She's using like kneading board, right? To knead the dough, and she would put like all of these pieces together, cover with a towel, and that's it. So now they all combine, even though they were kneaded at different times. But since we never removed the challah from this dough, so you're allowed to combine them. Or as we discuss here, from bread or from matzahs, from cakes. Okay, you can also combine them together. Continue. CF number 4. In Kitzur time, bakers would leave portion of the dough unbaked, whereupon it would become very sour or fermented. This dough, which is known as a sourdough or starter dough, would be used as a leavening agent for the subsequent batches of dough. This CF addresses the proper manner to comply with the Challah obligation with regard to this dough. So it's very interesting if you ever saw how they do the sourdough bread. Just amazing. This sourdough, it's not just leftover. It's actually there is some kind of bacteria in there, and it constantly grows, right? So you have to use it, right? Otherwise, it's alive. It's live dough, right? It's very interesting. If you go to the bakery, the sourdough bread costs like double or triple even, but it tastes beautiful. Very interesting taste, different. Okay. So let's start. Sourdough that is taken from the dough, so as to be used to make another dough leaven, must be taken before the challah of the dough is taken is set aside. So basically, since you're not going to use this, they're talking about initially, right? So in order to start to make your sourdough, first you have to make a dough, right? And then separate this piece, right? So they separate this piece, and you need the amount necessary to separate challah without this little piece. I mean, it's not only little. I'm not sure how much they set aside to do it initially, but it's not a little piece, that's for sure. Okay, commentary. Although challah may be separated from one dough for another dough. Okay, meaning what? That if we combine, let's say 5 batches, smaller batches of dough, so you separate only from one batch and it covers all of the others, because as we said before, it's like one unit, right? That's what I think they're trying to say. Although challah may be separated from one dough for another dough, nevertheless, this is effective only if the dough that is being separated as challah is itself subject to the challah obligation. Right? So basically, as we said, you can combine the dough even if it was kneaded, let's say 2 days ago, but you never set aside challah from that. Right, so that's for sure, that's obligation. Otherwise, it's you cannot combine. Thus, in this case, the challah had already been set aside from the initial dough before the sourdough was taken from it. The sourdough would no longer be subject to the challah requirements. One would then be unable to set a challah from the second dough, for perhaps the piece of the dough that is being designated as challah is a sourdough from the first dough, which is no longer subject to the challah obligation and cannot be separated as challah for the second dough. Therefore, one must set aside the sourdough before the challah is taken from original dough. Then when the sourdough is added to the new dough as a leavening agent, it is a subject to the challah requirements. It's unbelievable, of a new dough. In this way, the new dough will not contain any portion that is not subject to the challah requirement. Okay, let's read it one more time, and we're going to explain details. But basic idea is that you separate this sourdough. So if you would separate it after after the challah was taken, right? So this piece, whatever, doesn't matter how big is it, it's already a piece that is not required challah separation. It's not, because you already removed it last week, right? So now, if when you start a new dough, some of it would not require challah separation because you already mixed the sourdough. That's the issue. That's why they say remove the sourdough before challah, right? Before challah. Then you remove challah, right? And that's it. So this sourdough, this piece of sourdough, will require challah separation, but it's mixed into next batch. That's how it works. So basically, this the sourdough always growing. You feed it. I think you put some flour into it. I'm not sure what else you put into it, or water, right? And it continue growing, and of course it needs the challah separation. Okay, that's the idea. But let's read one more time, so just to make sure that I got it correctly. So one more time. Although challah may be separated from one dough for another dough, nevertheless, this effective only if the dough that is separated as challah is itself subject to the challah obligation. As we explained. Okay, you can combine 5 batches, but all of them must require challah to be set aside, because otherwise you cannot combine as a part of one batch. Thus, in this case, if challah has already been set aside from the initial dough before the sourdough was taken from it, so that's exactly how we explain. If they first remove the challah and then he wants to remove sourdough, the sourdough will no longer be subject to the challah requirements. So that's it. You already remove challah once, that's enough. One would then be unable to take challah from the second dough, right? For perhaps the piece of the dough that is being designated as challah is sourdough from the first dough. So maybe you did not mix very well, and now you remove challah, right, from the new dough, like 2 days later, let's say, 5 days later, and it would contain only new challah, only sourdough, because once it's mixed already, you cannot tell, right? So basically, you would separate challah from something that you cannot separate challah from. That's what are the chances? Even though they're not so big, but there is a possibility, of course. Okay, so that's the explanation. So one more time, the whole sentence. One would then be unable to take challah from the second dough, for perhaps the piece of the dough that is being designated as challah is the sourdough from the first dough, as we explained, which is no longer subject to the challah obligation and cannot be separated as challah for the second dough. So basically, as we said, the possibility is very small that you exactly is going to remove the same piece. Like, I don't know how tiny this possibility, but it's still there. The possibility is still there. Okay. Therefore, one must set aside the sourdough before challah is taken from original dough. Then, when the sourdough is added to a new dough, as a leavening agent, it is a subject to the challah requirement of the new dough. Okay, so but if we did it opposite, right? If we did it opposite, as Kitzur says, if we first remove the sourdough and then we remove challah, then when the sourdough is added to new dough as a leavening agent, right? It is a subject to the challah requirements on the new dough completely, right? No doubts whatsoever. In this way, the new dough will not contain any portion that is not subject to the challah requirement. Okay, so sometimes you need to read it twice. Sometimes we read commentaries 3 or not like in commentary in text a few times. So to understand exactly what they're saying. Continue. However, sourdough that is being taken to be used to ferment the beverage called borscht, right, must be removed from the dough only after they set aside challah. Why is that? I'm not sure. Let's see the commentary. When using the sourdough to initiate the fermentation process of the beverage, okay, challah must be taken before separating the sourdough from original dough. For once the sourdough is mixed into the beverage, that's genius. The challah will no longer be taken as a beverage, as beverages are not subject to challah requirement. Okay, so you mix in this piece of sourdough into the liquid, and that's it. It became liquid. Just 1 second. Yeah, it became a liquid. Okay, so basically you cannot remove the challah. In our case, in the previous case, you remove the challah from a second dough. So 3 days later, when the sourdough is ready, that you removed 3 days ago, you mix it in. I'm not sure. I'm just saying 3 days. I think the initial phase takes maybe 10 days. Don't remember exactly, but it's very interesting process. You can look up how to make sourdough. It's very interesting. Therefore, one cannot set aside portion of the dough to be used in this manner until the challah obligation is satisfied. That's it. As straightforward as it is. Right. So you cannot separate challah from the beverage. So that's why we do it beforehand. Okay. So let me check time. Okay, so we can do a few more maybe. So continue. CF number 5. On Pesach, the Torah prohibits owning all chametz, a leavening grain products. Right? So chametz, we know what chametz is, including sourdough. So that's the problem, right? Therefore, in order to bake bread after Pesach, the baker must acquire sourdough from a non-Jewish source. This affects the procedure of separating challah, as will be explained in this year. So sourdough is 100% chametz. They're not allowed to have it, right? So you have to destroy it, you have to burn it, whatever. So after Pesach, we have to go to the non-Jewish baker and ask him for this sourdough, just a little piece, just to start the process. I think if I understand correctly, you can do it without somebody else's sourdough, but it would take a very long time. As I said, I think maybe 10 days or even longer. I'm not sure if you start from the beginning. But if you start from existing one, so it's much faster. So even I think maybe you can use it right away. Okay, continue. After Pesach, when we purchase the sourdough from idolater to use for leavening dough, we must be careful to set aside challah, a portion of the dough larger than the size of the sourdough. Okay, so his sourdough does not require. So the way I understand this halacha, right? So his sourdough does not require the challah separation, right? So whatever large piece you mix into your new batch of the dough, right? So when you remove the challah, it must be larger. Larger meaning, let's say, even the probability is very low that you're going to remove only what he gave you, which is probably, as I said, very, very low, but still it is possible. So they say remove some extra. Remove a piece bigger than whatever you mix from the sourdough. Okay, so let's see commentary. Don't eat it with don't eat it when when the possession of idolater is not the subject of the halal obligation. Exactly as we explained. I mean, it's his dough. I can use it. Is it kosher? Yeah, it's kosher. Thus, when using a sourdough purchased from an idolater, we are faced with a problem similar to the addressing of the previous seal. See note 14, right? That it's extra, it's not included. How can challah be taken from dough that has been leavened by the sourdough purchased from idolater? That's the question, right? How will challah be taken from the dough that has been leavened by the sourdough purchased from idolater? Perhaps the portion designated as challah will be sourdough itself. As we said, I mean, probability is very low, but okay, it is there. Since the sourdough is not subject to the challah requirement, so basically, if you that's another idea that I didn't think of. Since the sourdough is not part of the requirement, so basically, even if you remove this part and somehow you remove only his part of the sourdough, so you didn't do any mitzvah because this part never required the challah separation. Very interesting. I never thought of it. It cannot be used to satisfy the challah obligation for the dough needed by a Jew. Exactly. Here we cannot resolve the problem as we did earlier by taking out the sourdough before the challah separated from the original dough, since an idolater needed the original dough. Okay. It never was and never will be the subject of challah obligation. That's it, this piece. In this case, we are required to separate a portion larger than sourdough of challah as challah. That's it. So we just separate. Let's say we assume that everything that we mixed from this sourdough is going to be removed with challah and plus whatever extra. In this way, even the sourdough itself is a piece being set aside as challah, as we said. Along with it, there will be also a portion of dough that has definitely not come from idolater, right? So did not come from idolater, okay, and therefore subject to the challah obligation. Okay, well, it's very interesting. So I'm not sure what people do. People who use sourdough, do they buy? I mean, today maybe if they go to commercial bakery or they know some Gentile who sells this, who use this sourdough and buy it from them, because otherwise, even if some people who sell the home it's for Pesach, I think the sourdough needs constantly to be taken care of. I'm not sure how many days it can stay by itself. Of course, you keep it in the refrigerator, but still, I think you have to feed it every few days. I don't remember exactly details. So it's not going to work for you on Pesach, even if you sold it. Thus, the challah obligation for the dough will be satisfied. So when you take extra piece, although the custom cited by Kitzur above, Sefer, is to set aside the full kizayis of the challah. Nevertheless, with regard to this concern, we are faced with here, we might rely on the minimum requirement. Okay, minimum requirement, I don't remember what we said. See above note 5. Let's see note 5. What is that? Maybe like a barley seed? I'm not sure. Note 5. Okay, so I guess he means that we go by linear opinion, which is 0.6 ounce. Right, so it's a tiny piece basically. Okay. Okay, so continue. Halacha number 6. Safe number 6. One who makes dough for the purpose of cooking it or frying it separates challah from it without reciting blessing. Cooking or frying. if one makes a dough intending to bake a portion of it, even if he intends to bake only a small portion of it, he must set aside challah from the dough with a blessing. Okay, so let's see with the commentaries. So one more time. One who makes a dough for the purpose of cooking it. So they want to cook, they want to make a homemade pasta, right? Possible. Okay. For the purpose of cooking or frying it. So fry, they want to do a pancakes, right? Fry it. Separate the challah from it without reciting blessing. Okay, 17. So 17. One may mix flour and water into dough with the intention of baking bread with it. So he first mixed it, and he had in mind to make bread with it. The dough becomes obligated to challah. This obligation remains even if he ultimately changed his mind and did not bake it into bread, but cooked it or fried, or fried the dough instead. Okay, so original intention to make bread, and change his mind. Okay, no problem. However, meaning no problem, meaning that he has to remove the separate challah. However, if at the time of kneaded, one planned to prepare the dough by cooking or frying, and did not plan to bake into bread, there is uncertainty among the authorities regarding this status. Some authorities, Tosafos and others, cited by Beis Yosef Yoreh De'ah 329.3, maintains that if at the time of the kneading one planned to cook or fry it and not to bake into bread, and he indeed cooked and fried it, it is nevertheless subject to the mitzvah of challah. So Beis Yosef is Yosef Hara, right? So he says that let's read one more time what he says. And then that if at the time of kneading one planned to cook or fry it, so that he did not plan to make bread, period, right? Only cook or fry it. So when we say fried, we have to define fried. Fry meaning using the liquid, not only like a little liquid or a little oils that would just don't get stuck to the frying pan, right? So today we use like sprays and stuff like that, right? But meaning oil like you do latkes, for example, you use a lot of oil, right? So this frying and cooking is they exactly equal to one another, right? And not okay. So he was planning to cooking or frying, and not to bake into the bread. And he indeed cooked and fried. It is nevertheless subject to the mitzvah of challah. So that's what Beis Yosef. Shulchan Aruch Yoreh De'ah 329.3. However, rules that since it was never destined to be baked, it is not become subject to the challah obligation, because it's never had the definition of bread. Therefore, although challah is set aside from such a dough to comply with the stringent opinion, nevertheless the blessing is not recited to avoid the possibility of reciting blessing in vain. That's it, right? So in all of these cases, as we learned in our class Brachas, in case of the doubt, okay, we go by stringent opinion, right? But we don't say blessing if there is questionable circumstances. Not questionable, like if there are some sages say don't say it, or not only don't say it, that it's not even require let's say in this case challah separation. If one changes his mind and decided to bake the dough, challah must be taken with a blessing, even though he originally intended to cook and fry it. Okay, Note that these laws apply to the mixture that has dough-like consistency. A cake batter, although subject to the Challah requirement, is not subject to requirement unless it is being baked. Challah is separated after the baking. So let's read this last part and we're going to explain. Note that these laws apply to the mixture that has dough-like consistency. Dough meaning it's like dough means like thick consistency, right? Like for bread. A cake batter. So a cake batter is I guess it's liquid, right? So you pour it, right? Although it's also subject to the Challah. So the cake batter meaning that when it's in a dough status, right? It's you cannot separate. How you can separate with right? It's liquidish, right? But when you bake the end product is for sure it's like bread-like, right? So you can separate after that. A cake batter, although subject to the Challah requirement, is not subject to requirement unless it is being baked, right? So basically, if you do pancakes, the way I understand it depends if you use a lot of oil, so it's being cooked, so there is no Challah obligation. But if you use it for cakes, when you pour in some form, so in this case it would be required the Challah separation. Okay, but of course Challah separated from after baking. Or you do casserole, right? So casserole is a good example. Yeah, it's a bread-like. It's a lot of flour in there, right? Okay, so continue. If one makes and all of this one more time is subject of requirement of subject to requirement of the enough flour, right? As we said, with a blessing almost 5 pounds. If one makes the dough intended to bake a portion of it, even if he intends to bake only a small portion, he must set aside Challah from this dough with a blessing, right? So a person decides to make cake and bread and this homemade pasta. Even most of it is going to homemade pasta and a little bread roll. So in this case, you still make a blessing on separation. Commentary. Since he will be baking a portion and it does have the properties of the dough, it is certainly subject to the Challah obligation. Even he intends to cook and fry the greater portion, right? And the portion that is baked contains less than the minimum amount designated, delineated in CF2. Okay, so basically what he's saying, so even as you said, if a small roll and the rest is going to be homemade pasta or whatever how you cook it, so they say there is no problem. Okay. So let's do number 7 and we stop. Let's see so it says if the dough is kneaded with eggs or the fruit juices. So here we go. There are a number of the uncertainties regarding the Challah obligation. Therefore, one must mix into the dough at the time that is needed a bit of water, milk, bees, honey, or wine, or olive oil. For then, if one of these liquids is an ingredient in a dough, one must certainly set aside Challah from this dough and do with a blessing. So let's try to understand. Okay, from the beginning, and we're going to explain with commentaries. There are many commentaries. If the dough is kneaded with eggs or with other fruit juices, so commentary. In this context, any beverage other than those listed further in this year is referred to as a fruit juice. Very interesting. It should be noted that with regard to the Challah obligation, there is no difference whether the blessing recited when eating the final product as chamotzi or mizonos. See below Siman 48. I mean, that's for particulars of the blessing. Those are two separate things. For example, if you from the same dough, you can make bread or you can make cake. So on cake we say mizonos. On bread we say chamotzi, right? But that's the commentator said that's not what we're discussing here, right? Okay. So one more time, if the dough is kneaded with eggs or other fruit juices, and fruit juices, they come with any other liquids besides this, as we're going to say, that the Torah is considered liquids. There are a number of uncertainties regarding the Challah obligation. So what are the uncertainties? Commentary. There is disagreement among the authorities regarding the Challah obligation of dough kneaded with liquid, other than those 5 mentioned further in the Sefer. Okay, but usually the way I understand when they mix it with eggs, it's usually a cake, right? And usually they don't make so much cake usually, right? Okay, but let's say they do. While some authorities, they are 329.9, contends that this dough is subject to the Challah requirement, right? So meaning even if they mix with eggs or apple juice. Others, Rosh, cited by Shah, same place, maintain it is not. Moreover, food does not contain tuma, tuma does not contract tuma, ritual impurity, from coming into contact with something tamei, unless it has first come into contact with water, grape juice, wine, or other liquids specified further in the Sefer. So only these liquids, when we're going to mention, and a few more that are missing from the list. I mean, because it's not practical. Consider officially liquids, right? Halachically, not officially, halachically liquids, and they transfer tuma. Thus, if dough has kneaded with a liquid other than these liquids, meaning these ones, the challah that has been removed from it is tahor. Now the challah is tahor may not be burned. That's whoa. That's the big issue. Whoa. I never knew that. So we are not we are required to destroy the challah, as we said in the first class, because we cannot give it to the Kohen, right? Because he's tameh, most likely, and this challah may be also tameh, right? But now we say if it may be, maybe, right? It's all maybe. So this challah is tahor because it was not kneaded with one of the liquids that transmit ritual impurity. Very interesting. And then we are not allowed to burn it. Very interesting. On the other hand, it may not be eaten by a Kohen, as a Kohen is tamei, it's forbidden to eat challah. So, okay, we presume, since it's most likely that he is tamei, so he cannot eat challah anyway, even though our challah tahor. Tahor, it's pure. This possesses dilemma with regard to the disposing of challah. Kitzur will now explain how this may be avoided. Continue. Therefore, one may mix into the dough at the time of the kneaded a bit of water. So a bit of water. I'm not sure how much bit. Like not much, right? Milk, bees, honey, wine, or olive oil. So I think olive oil is more prevalent. That's what they use, or wine. The other two that we consider liquids is not listed because they're not practical. Is dew also is considered liquid and blood. So I think there are 7. 1, 2. Water, milk, this honey, wine, olive oil, dew, and blood. Yeah, there is 7 liquids that transmit impurity. For then, if one of these liquids is an ingredient in a dough, meaning let's say water or olive oil, one must certainly set aside challah from this dough and do it with a blessing. So now we're saying that even if it's smallest amount of this liquid. Okay, so let's read the commentary and we stop for today. So commentary say, by adding even small amount of any of these liquids, both of these issues raised in the previous note are resolved. For the dough containing even a small amount of these liquids becomes subject to the challah obligation. Okay, so add a little water, olive oil or wine or honey, whatever we do, milk. We usually try not to bake with milk, but all others are good. And when any of these liquids are added, the dough can contract tumah, and the challah taken from it can thus be burned, as it contracted tumah, even when touched. Okay, see Mishnah Brura 462:20 with the Shar Chatziyun, chapter 27, see Shulchan Aruch, there 5, and another solution. In the event that one did knead the dough with eggs or other fruit juices without mixing water or another liquid listed in this year, he is required to set aside challah. So I mean that the law did not change. See Yorach Deat 329.9, Shar Chatziyun 462.27, Shach and other commentary to Yorach Deat, same place. With regard to whether the blessing is recited. Okay. In such a case, we are lenient with regard to challah that is set aside outside of Eretz Israel, and it is given to Kohen who is under 9-year-old. Very interesting. Who does not contract tumah. That disqualifies one from eating such a challah. That's a big deal, I guess. I'm not sure what he's going to bake. We're not allowed to bake our bake or our omelets. See Ramat 329.10, Mishnah Brura 462.20. According to some authorities, see Beis Hillel in Yorach Deat 329.9, it is preferable not to recite blessing unless water or other of the other liquids are added. That will mix into the dough. Okay, so if you do this, separate the challah and give it to the Kohen who is below 9 years old. So, but I'm not sure if other can touch it. If his mother can touch it, I'm not sure. And so the bottom line is, based on all of this explanation that we say, don't make this challah or whatever dough with purely this juice or eggs, right, or any other liquids. So make sure that one of the 5s are added. So I'm going to read one more time and we'll stop. Water, milk, bees, honey, wine, and olive oil. Okay, so we stop here. See if anybody has any questions. Okay, so no problem. So tomorrow, Beezrat HaShem, we're going to do what we're going to do. Hilchas Teshuvah. Good night.